And we are live. Where's that camera? I don't think this one has to be on. Side maybe? Okay, I think we've got it. Facebook is just a pain. Alrighty, let's get set up here. And my trusty assistant will get set up on the front computer. We have a full project today. It's going to be kind of a fun one, I think. So, I couldn't even fit everything in the starting gate. So, all right. What? Yep, I'm getting set up here. All right. Give us just 1 second. We're just getting set up. Hey Jan, I did see your email. I just haven't had a chance to go through it yet because we've been really busy today with people picking up stuff. So, and then getting ready for our video. Oh boy, hang on. I gotta readjust it. Yeah, the microphone goes on the wrong side. That's the other one. So, let's see. See if I don't confuse myself totally today. All right. Are you able to get to the video? Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Are you ready for roll call? I'll put this, if I put this right here, maybe they can hear you better.
I don't know. Hey, Kip. So it's Kip from Mexico. How you doing, Kip? Tammy P. I'm going to behave today, Tammy. I'm going to behave.
I don't know.
Jan. How you doing, Jan? Sue. Happy Saturday to you, Sue. Let's see, we got Shirley and Kevin. Hey, Kevin. She's loving the typewriter. Elizabeth, Arizona. Pat Templin. Let's see, Cheryl Healy. Hello, Cheryl. She says hello to you also, Brookie Moscow. And we got Cheryl Cunningham. There we go, the two Cheryls. Veronica says hello, Brookie. Oh, Brooke. Oh, no, I don't want to call you Brookie.
No, you're the only one that calls me Brookie.
Monjana, one wet dog. Sorry to hear that, Monjana. Sorry to hear that. Terry has joined us. Hey, Terry.
Terry who?
Terry Chong.
Oh, are you feeling better, Terry? I hope so.
Nona. Let's see, microphone. Get your microphone on.
I'm trying to eat my sandwich.
Oh. Nan. We're here, Nan. Terry, how you doing, Terry? Let's see, super cute card from Tammy. Christy. Hello, Christy. Kathy. Kathy says hello to everyone.
Kathy.
Hello back, Kathy. Let's see what we got here. We got Chris Schneider, upstairs Chris.
Upstairs Chris, downstairs Gordon.
Downstairs Gordon. Stephanie and Inga. Let's see. We got. How you doing, Lorraine? And Pebble. Always want to put an S on that, Pebble, but I know it's no S on that. No S on pebble.
That's the middle initial.
Yeah, I know, right? Let's see, we got, let's see, Vicky. Let me see, Bob Cologne. Hey, Bob. And Monica. Nice to join us again, Monica. Judy Collins. Hey, hey. Terry says she's feeling well, thank you.
Oh, good.
All right. Brooke is eating a grilled cheese sandwich as we speak.
Thank you, Teresa Best.
She's
for
stuffing
bringing
her gob, as we would say. Stuffing her gob.
Mm-hmm.
Sumption. How you doing, Sumption? Over there from, what's that? Olympic Peninsula. There you go. And Kathy lives on the Olympic Peninsula, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Kevin does, too.
And Kevin, yeah, Kevin is on there, too. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
You guys have your own crafting circle out there.
Yeah, bingo.
Okay. All right.
Oh, Kay Rhodes has
Oh.
graced us with her presence. Hey, Kay.
Okay.
Are you
All right.
eating?
Yeah, I can be done.
All right, I don't want to be a stand-up comedian right
Well, you're not that funny.
now. I'm not.
I'm just kidding. Someone, who gave us the book of jokes?
I'm back. So a horse walks into a bar, and the bartender said, "Hey, fella, what a long face."
Ba-dum-bum. Oh my God. Oh, jeez. Okay. We are going to cover so much today, so we better get rolling. Besides all these great jokes. Okay. So today, we let the assistant again pick the project. So we have a lot of work to do. So I hope you guys are ready to rock and roll. Let me tell you a little bit about what's going to happen here, okay? One, I have trash still sitting in my space from yesterday, but we're going to just have to make that work. All right. So I'm so excited, and if it seems like I'm high on energy, it's because I've just been fed, and I have my Starbucks ready to rock and roll. So Teresa, you took such good care of us today. Thank you so much.
Kip said it sounds yummy.
Oh, Starbucks does. They have some kind of magic powder in their grilled cheese, I swear. They make like the best ones. Okay. So here's the deal. The brick embossing folder, we are going to use, I know you thought the card was done, but it's not. So you remember a couple episodes ago, by that I mean probably 8, 7, I don't know. We did the matte chalk paste and we were testing it out. Well, we did it on, and then we voted, right? And you guys voted for the wisteria background. So this is the honeydew background that we didn't use for that card. So I'm not entirely sure. I think he thought we were going to redo it, but I thought, oh, it's already done. Let's use this one. So for those of you guys that missed that episode, it's the one, if you scroll down the Facebook feed, there's a picture of the two cards side by side of this one with a portal window and like a vintage photo. So it's the video right before those pictures that shows you how to do this. Now, I do believe we're out of these chalk matte things, but I got a lot of questions about pricing. I feel like they were like $8.50 for the jar, somewhere right in there. I didn't check it before the video, but I think that's about the price because I saw you guys had asked. So we've got more of the chalk polishes on order, and I'll tell you what, I wasn't sure about them at first, but with this brick folder, and I think there's a lot of stuff you can do because you don't have a shine to it, so it lends itself to a different look. Really kind of like it, but we're going to use this one as our background today to save us a little bit of time. Okay, so that's this embossing folder, but we aren't going to actually use it. It's just going to be used, if that makes sense. Okay, I am so excited because we've used Sticky Grid on a number of these projects so far, but we haven't used Sticky Grid in the way that it was originally intended. And today, my friends, we are going to do that. I'm so excited to show you guys that because it really, really is a cool little trick. We're going to also use a new color of Embossing Glaze that we haven't used before. And I am going to lower my camera, I think, so that you guys can see this a little bit better. Bloop. I don't know why it needed sound effects, but there you go. Okay, so we're going to use the new, we're going to do Cracked Pistachio. And I picked that merely just because I had the honeydew color done already. And we're going to use this set of letters. Now, I love these letters, and I think they might have gotten a little bit overlooked in Chapter 1 release. But the letters, when you get Tim Holtz sets of letters, these are, so the set here is $16.99 for all of these letters. There's actually two different ones, and I'll show you the other one real quick, but we're going to use the lowercase one. You get 146 dies. Yeah, I will show it. But what I want to show you guys is that there's always this guide on the side, and it tells you that you get 5 A's, you get 5 B's, you get 4 C's, and so on. So you get multiples of all the letters, which for the technique we're going to use today is very, very important. So as opposed to just having one, okay? So this particular set of letters is only 1/4 inch tall. And when you look at how cute these little letters are, they are freaking adorable. But look at them all. You've got a ton of letters here. So the trick then is, what I would do if it were me, is put them all on a magnetic sheet and slip them into a folder so that you can organize them, because I'll tell you, it was a little bit tough to find them while half of them are upside down. But if you are an organized person, a magnet sheet for these kind of alphabets would be a great idea, as opposed to the paper plate organizational method. So, okay, so the next thing that I want to show you guys is we're going to make this little typewriter, and I love this typewriter because it's a Bigz die, which I think my assistant will have to bring us over. And he's going to need to bring us perhaps a 6x6 square. This is what I need on my list. 6x6 square of black paper, and a 6x6 square of really any pattern paper, because I've already got it die cut, but I just want to show them how to do it. So first, can I see the die? Where are you going? I just want to show them the die. I was looking for it. It's right there under the blue. Okay, while he gets together my next set of things to show you, this, he can't just hand it to me. Hang on a minute. Just don't take out my coffee. Bloom. Okay. So this one here, this is a Bigz die, which means it can cut chipboard, which we very well could have done today, but we didn't. So this is what we did. We did it on cardstock, but it's a double layer cardstock, and so I'll kind of show you that. But as far as Bigz dies go, these are called steel rule dies, and they have like a 1/4 inch blade in them so that they will cut, maybe an 1/8 inch blade. I think 1/4 might be a little generous. But they will cut much thicker materials. But all of the blade in here is hand bent. It's like crazy. So the fact that you get all of these little tiny keys in this typewriter is phenomenal. And this one is still at the standard Bigz price of $19.99. So I think it's really, really amazing, the technology that they have been able to get out of these dies. So, and then when you're getting the little pieces out, you want to use a die pick. This is one from Sizzix. And I'm just going to talk about this because this part is kind of important. You want to be really careful as you're getting the stuff out that you only get out your bits and pieces. This foam in here, you want to try to leave that intact because that's actually an ejection foam. So it helps keep the stuff not from just sinking all the way down into the holes in the die. But if you end up pulling some of it out, it's not that big of a deal, because I've done that on a number of dies. Because sometimes if you cut a lot of black chipboard, which I do, you can't tell the difference between the foam and the chipboard. So, or if you have your assistant clean out the die, he might be a little less careful with that. So, okay. So what we're going to do to make the pieces, I actually pre-die cut these so that we were ready to go for our project. But this is just a wedding paper. We just picked a wedding paper with a soft pattern and a light color. So I wanted to make sure that the cracked pistachio would show through. I need the adhesive and the long scissors. So, but what I did is all on a black cardstock, that's just to give it a little bit more substance. So he is going to pass us over some stuff in a slow fashion. Why don't you take that and move that somewhere? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Perfect. So here's what I did. I used the Elizabeth Crafts adhesive roll. We've talked about this before. Any of your double-sided adhesives will work for this one, but you want to make sure that it's a strong one because we are going to then do some embossing on top. And so we want to make sure that the adhesive, this is why I'm not gluing these together, because I want full coverage on the adhesive when I go to make this, okay? So I'm just putting this down, and then I'm going to take some scissors. And I don't really find that I have to be incredibly careful with this, but if you cut a lot of adhesive and get muck on your scissors, you can just put some rubbing alcohol, if you happen to have any at home, on like a cotton swab or something like that, and it'll come off. Okay, so now what I've got is I've got a black piece of chipboard and I've got a big piece of double-sided adhesive on here. I'm just going to burnish this on so that it's on there nice and good, and then I'm going to pull off my release sheet here. Okay, just like that. So then what I'm going to do, so I just asked for any old random patterned paper because we already have our die cut. So for this one, I used the wedding paper, but for the sample, I'm going to use this. So all I'm going to do is, this is the side that I want, say, on the front of my typewriter. So I want to make sure that this one obviously doesn't get glued down. So I'm going to take adhesive side up. I've got black cardstock adhesive, and now I'm going to glue it to the back side of my pattern paper. And now what I have is I actually have a much thicker piece of paper. Okay, so it's a piece of decorative paper, it's adhesive, and it is a heavyweight smooth cardstock. And that's all we're going to use for our typewriter today. Okay, so let's get rolling. Now, parchment paper. You know what, it used to be in my reach, but it is not anymore. So it's all the way over there. So just one more word about this while he grabs me the parchment paper. When you go to die cut this, if you want rainbow stripes on the front of your typewriter, make sure that they are facing the die when you go to cut. That way the blades will cut up into the die, just so that you get it going the right direction. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so today we are going to be using our Embossing Dauber. Now, we've used this a whole bunch. A lot of you guys have gotten them. If you haven't gotten them yet, we do have them in stock. They are so great for things like this. You could push this into your embossing pad. However, I find when I push stuff into my embossing pad, I don't get nearly the coverage that I can get with this guy here. And I find it's a lot easier to make sure that I've got all my nooks and crannies. Plus, I keep my fingers clean, which is nice when you're going to then work with the powder. So first things, for this top part, with our typewriter here, we have, oh, my thing's not scrolling. Are you keeping up with comments if there's any questions I need to answer? My thing wasn't scrolling. Okay. Okay, so what I decided when I put this typewriter together, it actually has two parts that cut out, and they go just like this. So they layer. The way that you know they layer is, say, this middle notchy thing that looks like a U right here. Both pieces have that, so it's really easy to line that up. But I decided I wanted my front piece to have a little bit of a different look than my main typewriter. Okay. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take this guy, and we're going to be working with Cracked Pistachio today. I like the color Cracked Pistachio too, because it kind of reminds me of that sort of 50s vintage color, which is cool for a typewriter because it's sort of that era, right? So, although I feel like the next time I start a new collection, Vintage Typewriters might be on the list.
That's what it was.
What?
KitchenAid colors.
The KitchenAid colors. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm just going to take, now for those of you guys that use the dauber, this is just a reminder for those of you guys that are new to the dauber, it's got a release mechanism in the top. So when you first get it, you want to push it down, you'll hear it click, that will start the flow. Also, when you go to squeeze this, that release mechanism makes it so that if I'm squeezing it in the air like this, nothing is going to come gooing out the top. If I squeeze it in the air hard enough, it still won't come out the top, but it will come out here and make a humongous mess. And I know because I've done it. So when you put this down is when you want to do the squeezing. Okay. So we're just going to cover this in embossing dauber. I'm going to stick it in our trusty little thing here and dump some glaze on it. Oh. Okay. Set that off to the side. And then, is my cord in the camera? My cord is on the other side today, so it's throwing me for a little bit of a loop. Oops, don't turn over. Okay. Okay. So tuck that out of the way and grab my heat tool. So I'm going to just let this warm up for just a second. Put the lid on my dauber. And I'm using my Wow heat tool today. I've got it on setting number 1. And it should just start here in a second because I've been using it quite a bit and it was pretty warm, but might just need to warm up just a little bit. There we go. Now, the interesting thing about this too is that because we're working with a cardstock and a paper, as it goes along, it starts to curl a little bit. And at first I didn't like it, but then I thought, you know what? Typewriters aren't actually like, they have kind of that rounded look to them. So I was sort of okay with it. I didn't hate that look. But then once you put the foams on it, it brings it all together anyways. So, let's see. All right. Let me make sure I got it all. Yep, there we go. Okay, so that piece goes together that quickly. Really easy, but what I like about using that pattern paper, and you don't see it as much with the next part that we're going to do, but you do see it on this one. You didn't have to do any stamping. You didn't have to do any additional work because you let the paper do it. And because of the glaze, and the glazes are translucent, you get all of that effect right through it. So now we're going to do something a little bit different on the bottom. Okay, we are not going to worry about inking it. Okay, we're just going to put the dauber on here. And we're going to make sure we have a nice coverage. Am I shaking the camera while I do this? Probably. Let's see. I just got to make sure I've got all my spaces covered here so that we get a nice cracked pistachio typewriter. Okay. Oop, and there. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to stick it in here, and we're going to cover it. So this is going to be our base layer. And so we're going to just heat it, just like we did. I feel like doing embossing powder and watching it melt is kind of like watching paint dry, but actually a little more interesting because it does have that definite change. So, okay, just while we get going here, I will do this guy just to make sure it doesn't fly off into my lap. But actually having these two layers of the cardstock together makes this a little heavier, so I don't find it flies away quite as much as some of the other embellishments that we've done. Okay. So while I'm doing this, you want to tell a quick joke? Do you have another joke to tell? Oh, I put him on the spot. I don't think his funny bone was quite prepared. Plus, they can't hear you over my heat tool anyway, so you'd have to walk over. Okay, almost there. Okay, now remember, this is just our base layer, and you'll notice that this looks relatively similar to the top piece. What? What we're using today is the new Embossing Glaze from Tim's line. So this is the one that just came out in his recent release of embossing glazes. It is like an embossing powder. But it's very translucent, and it has kind of more of a glaze property when you've got it on. So okay, so let me show you guys what we're going to do next. Now, we're not going to use the dauber for this next layer, okay? And for those of you guys that saw the candle card, you will be really happy to see that we're going to do the same thing. But we're going to do it on a much larger piece here. So what we're going to do is we're going to remelt half of this guy. And I wanted to use the cracked pistachio because I know that a number of you guys are still, you might have some of these glazes and you're still looking for some other ideas of things that you can do. So I thought it would be fun. Plus, I mean, you can't get prettier than a vintage cracked pistachio typewriter, I don't think. So, okay. Now, hang on a second. So we're going to just heat the other side now. Okay, so what you'll notice is that, and I thought this was very interesting too, because I don't find this to be the case with other ones, but the cracked pistachio definitely did this. It held on very thickly in the spots that it was working with. So where it's doubled, it's holding on really in a very thick powder, which I thought was interesting because that really helps this project quite a bit. So, and I just need, because this one is going to show, I just need it to hold on right up here.
Hey, I got something.
Oh, you got a joke?
What do you call a deer with no eyes?
Okay. What do you call a deer with no eyes?
Ready?
Well, do you want to let people guess the answer? I don't know, are you? What do you guys think? What do you call a deer with no eyes? I don't know the answer to this either.
I do.
I hope you do. Otherwise, it'd be a really bad joke. A really bad joke. Okay, so now that we've got those two layers, we're going to just melt everything together, and you'll find, hopefully this is working, that it's giving us this really amazing, beautiful glaze. And so on my last one, I didn't see the pattern paper through quite as much. On this one, I see it a little bit more. So if you want the glaze even deeper, you can add yet another layer while it's wet. And I might do that on some of the little handles and things like that. But this is the technique that I did on the first one. Now, I don't know if you guys can see this on camera, and it's a little bit hard for me to hold my breath because I talk so much, but it is smoking just a little bit. And I think that might just be more steam than smoke, at least I hope so. Or, you know, melted plastic fumes, I don't know. So this might, you know, if you're going to do a lot of this kind of stuff, it might not be a terrible idea to wear a safety mask. Okay, so hang on one sec. I got to let that cool just for a minute before I can touch it.
I think Pat got the joke.
What is the joke?
I mean, she got the answer to the joke.
Oh, I don't see that. What's the answer?
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Yeah. say it again. What do you call a deer with no eyes? I have no idea.
I don't get it.
I have no idea.
I have no idea. Oh, it only works with your accent?
No, me.
Idea?
Deer.
Okay, I don't get this joke. This is so clearly above my...
Thank you, Pat.
What do you call a blind deer?
What do you call a deer with no eyes?
Oh, what do you call a deer with no eyes?
Yes, I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Yes.
Oh, you got to blend it together and mumble. All right, that joke was really got a wah wah wah. Oh God, if that's your measure of good, we're all in trouble. I think you can do better.
A ham sandwich walks into the bar and orders a beer. The bartender said, "Sorry, we don't serve food here."
Did you guys hear that one? That was pretty bad. You should come over here so they can hear you telling the jokes, though. Okay. All right, so here we go. So this is our beautiful typewriter. Can you guys see the extra shine on it? All right, so now I'm looking at it, and before I finish it up totally, I notice this corner is a little bald and my two handles. So I'm going to just grab this here, and we're going to just fix that. So I'm going to hold it on a safe corner, and I'm going to heat. Just remelt. That's really all you have to do with embossing powder. It does have quite a level of forgiveness in it that's pretty cool. So and this handle too. Okay, so now let's just melt these guys. And then, but see, the neat thing is even though I put double layer there, it just melts and you don't get a line, which I really think is pretty cool. So I like that extra gloss. So these glazes are really neat in the effect that they give you, because you get this extra layer of gloss that really, really does look like you'd maybe poured a colored resin on here or something like that. I just think it's really, really neat what you can make this look like. But when it's hot, you definitely don't want to stick your finger in it because it's pretty molten. I've done it a time or two. You really only want to let yourself do it once or twice, and then you're like, okay, I have learned my lesson. Or at least that's what I keep telling myself. And then I do it again. It's hot though. Okay, so I am going to call that one good. And there's our beautiful typewriter. Pretty cool, isn't it? Okay, so now we're going to move on to the next step. Do you think you could find me a much thinner piece of paper than the one I have? Or actually, I can probably work with it. So the next step that we're going to do, while I let this little guy cool here, is we're going to work on this cute little sign, okay? So what I've done is I took, let me get this out of the way, and how gritty. Oh, I'm pretty gritty here. Hold on. Let me just get some powder off of here so that it doesn't get like stuck on the sticky grid and stuff. So sticky grid is a repositionable adhesive, and it is reusable. So, but if you get a whole bunch of used embossing powder on it, it will be a lot less reusable. So I'm going to just clean off. You can't even hardly see the embossing powder, but you can definitely feel it. So, and then I'm going to need a dry towel, it looks like.
How thin was that typewriter piece?
Oh! Okay, so what I've done is I took a piece of the sticky grid, and It actually does come in the smaller size, which is so great for this project, but we didn't have any in stock, and this one just arrived. So sticky grid can be a little hard to get in, so we take whatever sizes we can get at this point. But this is a much bigger piece. It comes in this size here. So I just cut it down to the size that I needed, and we're going to use the Sidekick for this project. You can also put, this particular sticky grid is the size of a regular plate. So if you want to do the same trick on a regular plate, then it'll totally work. So what I'm going to do is, let me just get these off of here. So I used my centering ruler. Had I cut this properly, or perhaps had the correct size, I wouldn't have had to find center. But because I didn't, I had to find center. So what I did is I just took my centering ruler here, and I know that my plate is 2.5 inches wide. So I just made it so that my 0 was here, and it measured out to 1.25 inches on both sides, just to right here. And then you can't hardly see it, but see that little tick mark right there? That's my center. And that's just mostly for me, so that I know how to put these words on there. So the trick to doing this is why you can also use the bigger letters on the bigger plates. This one is a little tiny, but it's a little tiny project. It's so cute. So you're going to find the middle of your words, right? So Miss You, the center is kind of right between the I and the S. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the grids that are on here, and I'm going to place my letters on here with equal spacing, but I'm going to spell it backwards. And the straighter you get it, probably the happier you'll be with your finished project, Brooke. There we go. So, and the stickiness on the sticky grid holds these in place, but it isn't so sticky that you can't move stuff around and kind of nudge it if you need to, which is what you kind of are seeing me do here. So I love this though. I mean, the possibilities of being able to put a little peekaboo in your card fronts and stuff like that, it's so fun. And honestly, this was the original intention of the sticky grid. So some of those other bonus things that we've been doing are just additional things that you can do with the sticky grid. So it really, really has tons and tons of uses. So now I'm gonna just hope that I didn't spell anything wrongly. Wrongly is not even a word. Ignore that I said that. Okay, that is not centered. I don't know what I was centering here. Hold on a minute. Okay. Oh, it's this word that's not centered. Okay. Hang on. We have a moment. I just have to move things so that it'll line up right. Okay. Move things over just a little bit. Hang on. It's hard. It's really hard for me to talk and think at the same time. So sorry about that, you guys. The engineer side of my brain comes out and things have to be very, very lined up. Otherwise, we muck the whole thing up. Okay, so there's Miss You, and then we are going to put the U. Okay. This was, I think it's my angle, because the first time I did this in my other one, I'm like, oh, this is a piece of cake. Okay, so there we go. So I'm happy with that. So that's what that says. It says Miss You, and it looks pretty centered to me. So I'm going to just leave it. Now he has cut me a piece of paper that I know will go through this slot here. So that's as long as wide as it needs to be, and it's probably maybe he gave me about 1 3/4 inches. So that's pretty good for that. I have an N, not a U. Oh, well, I don't know what the U, really? Where did the thing go? It's this one. Is that not a U? Nan, I don't know. I can't tell the difference. Can you see if there's a difference? Well, how do you know it's a U? How do you know it's an N? Nan? Well, okay. Let's see. The N and the U, they look actually almost the same. I think the N has more of a pitch, so yeah, she might be right. But they're so similar, I'm gonna stick with it. Okay. I'll discover the difference here later, but trying to find it and actually get through this video might be a little challenging. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to center this over. So I'm going to find kind of the center here. You have the straight side. What? You have the straight side. Oh, I don't know what that means. Oh, the little things don't go to the middle. They go only to the side. Okay. Yeah, you're right, Nan. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, so I'm going to set this to the center, and then I'm just going to move it, make sure that I get it in the center. Okay, and I'm just going to put it up about here and make sure that it's straight on here and then tack it down. And so when I go to run this through my sidekick, everybody agree it looks like an N. Do I need to change it? Change it to a U. Could you quick come here and find the U? Panic. Everybody's, Nan, see what you've started? All right, let's see if we can find it. Oh, here it is. Oh, look at how fast I was.
Put them both together so you can see.
Okay.
And, see what the difference is.
Okay, here, take it. All right, so here's been the answer. Well, here's what we found. So that's the U, and that's the N. Oh, well, they're both upside down. Hold on. Well, okay. So I guess it has to do with the little tails. All right. Well, thank you, Nan, for pointing that out. Now I will be totally, totally correct. But you put it so far away, we're going to lose that N. All right. Now, let me re-stick this one on here. Oh, you know what? That does look a little bit more like a U. All right. Okay. So we're going to now back to our original plan. We are going.
Why are you using that wrong, like sort of fake thing? What do you call fake spaghetti?
What do you call fake spaghetti? He would like to know. Hold on. Let him answer. No, let him answer. But they're good at guessing. Oh, he would like to just tell you the answer. Okay.
Repeat the question.
What do you call fake spaghetti?
An impasta.
An impasta. What a dingbat. That's funny. Okay, so now, as we move along here, I'll let my assistant clean this out. So what it does is it just cuts out the negatives of these little letters, and you've got your perfect little sentiment here for our typewriter. But isn't that cute? It's actually really easy, even though we made it very, very long. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to grab our black foam squares. We're going to, so this is a new tool that I just found from Sizzix. Oh, well, this packaging doesn't have anything in it, so. But it comes with, it's called, could you find some more information on this multi-tool starter kit? Because it's called a starter kit, so there might be other tips to it too. So it comes. Yep.
Comes with it comes with 3 things in the starter kit.
Yeah, but I want to know if there's other additions. You might have to look in the catalog. Oh, okay. Because it's called a starter kit, so I'm assuming there's other pieces you can get for it.
Okay, the handle.
Yeah. So it comes with these pieces, plus it comes with a nubbin. I call this a nubbin in case you just didn't want something on an end. You could make it just an end. I've already lost it 3 times today. So, But the way that this attaches is it just goes in like this and then turns. And then this one has an X-Acto knife end on it and turns. But could you find if there's other tips that we could get for this project? So, but anyways, what I'm going to use is I'm going to use this end. And if you're not familiar with one of these things, they're super cool. Because what you'll do is you'll just take the paper and you just do kind of like this, and it will distress the edges. I'm trying to get it to focus on the paper edge, which it doesn't really know what it's supposed to focus on. Hopefully you guys can see that. So it takes and it distresses the edges just by running it along, because it's got all of these exposed blades in it. So it's a really, really handy little tool. This is the Sizzix, the one from Sizzix. Yeah, it's similar to the one that came out for Tim like 1400 years ago from Tonic. I don't know, that one might be still available, but this one's nice because it has a longer handle and it has different attachments you can put on the other end, so you can have more tools with you at one time. Okay, so we're going to do that. Then what I wanted to do for this little note here is I'm going to take some cracked pistachio. I didn't really grab any additional just because I already knew I had some on my foam. This foam has Vintage Photo, and I'm just giving it, I really like these two colors together because the Vintage Photo gives it kind of an aged look, and then the cracked pistachio gives it a little bit more of a, I don't know, maybe a mossy look. I don't know if that's a thing, but okay, so now we're going to put this guy together. All I needed, at least with my last one, so let's see if it'll work on this one, is what? I will. Yep. So I'm going to put it on the back side here, just here and here. Okay. And then I'm going to perfectly line this guy up. At least I hope so. Perfectly-ish. So those little foam squares, it gives me open space here, and then it gives you some dimension. Hopefully you guys can see that. Yeah. But we're going to thread our little note through. So what we're going to do is we're going to thread it so that this guy is in the front, and then it goes through and back out the back side. So this is a thicker paper, and this works really well with a thinner paper too. Okay, we just happen to have a thicker paper, so I'm going to take my fingers and start to mold the paper so that when I go to thread it through, it's already got this big bend in it. So what I want to do is I'm going to thread it through here. And then put it through there. Then I'm going to just figure out about how high I want it, and then kind of like, you know, your belt or whatever, you're going to, let's see, I want it down just a little bit, just pull it tight. So I'm trying not to fold this down here. I'm trying to just have it sort of a rounded effect. So then it'll look a little bit more like a note. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut it off right back here, and I'm going to glue these two pieces together. That'll just kind of hold it in place, but I didn't want white behind my letters. So then, see, how cute is that, right? It's so, so cute. I love it. And I want a little bit more edging, just like that. Okay. So my fine tip, and I'm going to glue this one just like that. So give me a second here to have it hold. Okay. Let's see. I just read your comment, Marjana. You just found a tool just like this one? Well, I guess my timing was perfect today for you. Okay, so then I'm going to take the rest of the rest of my note here, and I'm just going to glue it to the back of my typewriter. You could do all kinds of things behind the keys. You could use a gilding polish. You could do any number of things. But today, I'm going to do this one. Okay. Because just to make it easy, and because I think we're going to run out of time here for the video pretty quickly. Okay. Okay. So because it's, you know, got some what's it, embossing powder melted on the back side, I'm going to hold this down for a little bit longer than I might necessarily have to for other things. And that just has to do with getting it to hold, because then I have to take my scissors and I have to cut it. So, but we are almost done. This project went together really, really quickly. Okay. I think it went together pretty quick, given that I've been chit-chatting the whole time, and I had a sandwich, and we did roll call. We covered a lot today, right? Okay. So when I glue like this, I just take my scissors at an angle and kind of stick them behind the edge. I don't worry that much about a clean cut. I just want to make sure that it's not going to show. And doing this makes it so that it doesn't stick out on the sides. Okay. So now, the question to you guys is, we've got, I'm going to mix them up so maybe you can tell, maybe you cannot tell. Well, you probably can tell. Which one should we mount on the card? Okay, so these are your two that we have to choose from. Which one do you guys like? The right one or the left one? They're nearly the same. Oops. Okay. Right or left? Right or left? You guys pick. This one has a better centered message, though, it looks like. We got right. That's the one I picked, too. Right. Okay. 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 All right. We're going with right. All right. So we're trying to decide. We were talking about this earlier, and then this kind of fell on here cattywampus. So do we like it sort of miss you at an angle, miss you? Oh, maybe that's a better angle. That's a more appropriate angle. Or do we like it straight up and down? Oh, I don't know about that. Stephanie, I don't know why you can't hear me. Can everybody else hear me? Yeah. Uh-oh. I've already moved so far past it. That's fine. We can go back. Angle, I see angle, left, right, cattywampus. What do you think? Assistant, this is your choice of card. So do you like it straight? You be the final decision. Straight, I'm showing you on the video. Straight or cattywampus? Okay, and then spell cattywampus. Okay, so we'll glue this guy down. Then we'll be done. Pretty good card, right? So did you guys like this project? I think it's really cool, and I think it's a super, super fun way to use the embossing glazes. I think they really added an element. And actually this typewriter and the letters came out at the same time as the typewriter so that you could use them specifically kind of like this. And I think even if you don't do the typewriter, I think those little letters, they have so much possibility for different projects that it really gives you some cool effect. So, okay, let me see what we can get to stick down here. I got to hold this too because now I'm trying to glue onto the top of the brick, which isn't a flat surface anyways. Okay, so there's our finished card. I have to tell you guys, I think I totally love it. I love it. What do you think, assistant? Happy with your card? What? Yeah, it was your idea. Yep. So there's our card. He picks the best stuff, doesn't he? Okay, so let's do a quick recap. Let's hope everything is within reach. Okay, so these are the letters that we used today. And this is the 1/4 inch letter. These ones are $16.99 for 146 dies. If you want a capital, we have this set here too in stock. This one is 140 dies. You still get all of the other numbers. We didn't use this one here, but this one is 3/8 of an inch. So where these ones are 1/4 of an inch, that's 2/8 of an inch. This one is 3/8 of an inch. So because they're the capital, they're just a smidge taller. But this one is also in that same price range. So then we've got this guy here. And this is the typewriter that we use that comes with the multiple pieces. It's pretty amazing. Today was the first day I was using that one. We used cracked pistachio regular ink. We used cracked pistachio embossing glaze. And then we used this multi-tool. Did you find out if there were other heads available for them? Okay. My guess is as a starter kit, there's probably going to be additional things we can add here coming up, is my guess on this one. So anyways, this one is $15.99. It has the distressor. It has the X-Acto knife, which we'll probably be using in some kits coming up. We used the sticky grid actually as it was intended today with our dies. And the Brickwork, which is here. So we didn't use it, but we are highly featuring it in this project as one of the ones that we did a couple weeks ago with the chalk polish in Honeydew. So anyways, I think that covers the whole wrap up, doesn't it? Are you gonna be over here for the team high five? So today is Saturday. And we have a couple days off, unless you guys are in the Graphic 45 album class, because that will be in the private Facebook group tomorrow at 2 o'clock. So other than that, we will see you live right here at 2. Ouch. You kind of nailed me with that hang thing. A gentler high five. There you go. We will see you guys back here at 2 o'clock on Tuesday. Yeah. It's clearly the end of the week. Thank you guys so much. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye. This is a different phone. Hold on. Where's the finish button?